So good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today with another webinar from Henry Rodriguez, the director of Terranova, our wonderful DMC in Costa Rica. Henry, you have been doing regularly different region of Costa Rica. All these webinars actually are available on our YouTube channel, Dominique Debay Collection YouTube. And today we're going to explore the Central Valley of Costa Rica. So Henry, we'll let you show us your beautiful country.
Perfect, Dominique. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. How are you? It's great to see you. I do have to say that it is a bittersweet experience, the one that we're having today, because today we are finishing our tour around Costa Rica. It is amazing. We have been doing this series of webinars for a while now, and today actually we are looking at the final stop in our tour around the country. We have already been to Arenal, to the Arenal volcano area on the northern lowlands. We have been to the Monteverde cloud forest area. We have covered the Pacific coast from north to south, and we have also covered the Caribbean coast from north to south. And today we finish our trip around the country, our virtual trip around the country, focusing on the Central Valley of Costa Rica. That picture that you see there, that is the beautiful Poás volcano. Something very interesting about Costa Rica is that you can explore volcanoes from different points of view. As you saw when we did our visit to the Arenal volcano area, you can see it from the bottom, and you see the volcanic building right in front of you. There are other volcanoes located here in the Central Valley, like the Poás volcano, which is the one that you see on the picture, where you can go all the way up to the crater and you actually see the volcano from the top of the crater down, which is what you're watching on this picture. But let's get started with our little tour around the country, and let's talk about the amazing, beautiful Central Valley of Costa Rica. When you hear Central Valley, actually you don't really hear the Central Valley. You hear San Jose. And when people hear San Jose, they get scared and they don't want to stay in San Jose. But that's kind of a mistake that we make sometimes, because San Jose, it's not only the San Jose city where we have next door, belonging actually to a different province, but we know it as the San Jose Airport, or the SJO Airport, which is the gateway to come in and out of Costa Rica for everybody. All of the flights from Europe land into this airport, and a lot of flights from South and North America also fly in or land into the San Jose Airport. But San Jose is not only the San Jose city. It's so important to mention that. San Jose, it's located in the Central Valley of Costa Rica. San Jose is the name of the capital city and also the name of one of our 7 provinces. In the Central Valley, you have views like this. As you can tell, and because of the name tells you that, it is a valley. We're surrounded by mountains. And from the mountains, you get to see these beautiful views of what the Central Valley is located. San Jose is located somewhere around here, behind these clouds. And the beauty of this is that you have this amazing terrain surrounding the city that has volcanoes, that has different types of forests, and also that have a lot of coffee plantations, because thanks to the elevation of the Central Valley and the mountains around it, and thanks to the soils that we have in this part of the country, it's where we grow the best coffee of Costa Rica. So this is another thing that you can enjoy when you visit San Jose, when you visit the Central Valley, which is our different coffee plantations, different volcanoes, and also different small patches of forest, mostly cloud forest, that surround the valley. This is for you to have a better idea of how the Central Valley looks like. We have, like I mentioned to you, 7 provinces in Costa Rica. One of them is the San Jose province that holds the San Jose city, our capital city. Another province is Alajuela, another province is Heredia, and another province is Cartago. Actually, the main cities of those 4 provinces are located here inside the Central Valley. And in those 4 cities is where the most of our inhabitants live or reside, including myself. I live in the San Jose city towards the eastern side of the city, which is kind of closer to the mountains. I'm a mountain guy. I love the mountains. I love cold weather. So it's very nice and comfortable for me to live in this part of the town because I get some cool breeze and it's not too hot. And well, just to keep mention quickly, we have three more provinces, which are the ones that covers the coasts. We have Limon, which is the province that covers the Caribbean coast. We have Guanacaste, which is the province that covers the northern Pacific side, and we have Punta Arenas that covers the center and the south part of the Pacific. But today we are focusing here in this red spot right in the center of our beautiful country. The Central Valley actually covers a territory all the way up from San Ramon in Alajuela to Cartago, which actually used to be our former capital city back in the day, but then the capital city was transferred to San Jose because of a little internal, I dare to say, war we had back in the 1800s. We also covered some volcanoes like the Irazu volcano, like the Talamanca mountain range, and two sections of the another smaller valley, which is called El Guarco Valley. And basically, like I said before, here in this valley, you will find the union of the main four cities of the country: San Jose, Heredia, Alajuela, and Cartago. There are other smaller towns or smaller with a smaller population like Palmares, like Naranjo, which are actually closer to the Alajuela side of the valley. And this is also the center of Costa Rica in terms of economy, in terms of government, because all the government is settled here in the Central Valley, mostly in the San Jose city. And we have most of the best um, soils for different crops. You could find them here in the Central Valley. So we have towards the Cartago side, we have a lot of plantations of potatoes, for example, and other roots like that. Towards the Alajuela side, we have a lot of mangoes, we have a lot of melons, watermelons, and around the whole valley, we have these amazing coffee plantations. So most of the production of different products that we export, including flowers and strawberries, by the way, happen in this big valley that you see. Remember that outside the Central Valley, we devoted most of the land to conservation, and depending on the area, going towards, for example, the lowlands on the north, where the Arenal volcano is located, we will find a lot of pineapple plantations. And towards the Guanacaste province, we will find mostly fields for cattle, mostly for meat because of the weather. And on towards the Arenal volcano area, you find also cattle farms, but mostly for milk. Same happens in Monteverde, where we do a lot of milk production. But just to give you some kind of an idea of the products that you could see, or the crops that you could see around these areas, which are of course also part of the attraction of the areas, because we like to incorporate visits to these different crops on the way, on the transfers and everything. And it's a way to understand better what Costa Rica is all about. The area of this valley is approximately 10,000 square kilometers, which is quite big for what the country is. Remember that we are 51,000 square kilometers total, so 1/5 of the country it's covered on this valley. The geography, it's very smooth. You have different hills, different elevations that increase depending on the different sides or on the different areas, I'm sorry, of the valley. We have a population around living in this valley of approximately 2 million inhabitants. Remember, we are 5 million total, so the rest of the population of the country resides in around this valley. The altitude goes between 800 meters above sea level all the way up to 1,500 meters above sea level in different parts of the higher mountains closer to the San Jose city. The temperature runs anywhere between 12 to 35 centigrades. Today it's one of those 35 days because it's quite hot in the Central Valley. And the seasons that you could feel here are basically two, what we call the summertime, that goes all the way from December to May. And then in May, we start getting our humid or winter season or rainy season that goes all the way to November. The most of the rain in the Central Valley happens in the months of May and October. The rest of the months are still rainy, but we have still some sunshine going on. And something very interesting about the Central Valley, it's that when we have in May, actually, when we have the main change from the dry season to the rainy season, you start seeing beetles all over the place. We have these little beetles flying around the houses and getting into your bedroom that you have to take out so you are able to sleep. Um, so it's funny and weird to say, but our grandparents said that with the beetles, then we had the winter coming. That's I mean, when you start seeing beetles in your garden or inside the house, that's the no. I mean, that's the news that rainy season is starting. So that's funny. And you know what also happens when rainy season ends? We have a lot of parakeets flying around the city. It means when you hear those parakeets, it's like, okay, this is the end of the rainy season, and then and we have our summertime starting. I know these are just funny facts that I like to share with you, but these are interesting details that we like to share with your clients when they are in the country. And that's kind of what our guides do, telling them all this background about what is it to live in Costa Rica so they could have a real full experience, a full immersion experience on Costa Rica. Let's talk about the city. This here is actually the heart of the San Jose city. Here you see the National Theater. This is really jeweled in terms of architecture in San Jose. Something interesting to mention about the National Theater is that it was built back in the late 1800s. And back then, most of our politicians, most of the people who belonged to very influential families back in the day used to go to Europe to study, to go to college in Europe. They turn doctors, they turn into lawyers, they turn into teachers. And back then we didn't have good universities in the country, so everybody used to go abroad to Europe to study and then came back to Costa Rica. All these people coming back to Costa Rica already brought with them idea or the interest on the culture. They used to go to operas, they used to go to plays in Europe, and we didn't have any decent place to show this kind of events to our local people. So the government and all these oligarchs decided that they were going to put a tax on the coffee exports, and with that money, we were going to build a theater that will be big enough to present these amazing shows and to introduce some culture into our farmers, because back in the day, around this building that you see here, that today we have to the right a very big avenue, and to the left we have what we called the Plaza de la Cultura, or the Culture Plaza. And underneath the Plaza de la Cultura, you will see 3 floors down of the Gold Museum. Right next door, you have the Costa Rica, the Gran Hotel Costa Rica, and behind it, you have also some other buildings. So right now, this is a city, but back in the day, it was only coffee plantations around this. So they built this amazing theater, which resembles the Opera House in Paris, because most of the people were studying in Paris. Um, and thanks to that coffee tax that we put into the exportations, we now all even today we have this beautiful building that is used to bring international artists and also local artists. So we can see some plays, we can enjoy some opera. It's very interesting. And something interesting is that every time that we have people doing a city tour, this is a must stop. And we have access to some areas of the theater that are more exclusive. that not everybody has access to. So we're able to give you a tour that it's a little bit more in depth inside the National Theater. It is a jewel that you really have to come and check out because it's a beautiful building. But not only that, what means to us, which is kind of the turning Costa Rica from basically agricultural, uneducated country into a nation that is full of culture and that has a lot to offer. So that to us, as you can tell, I get excited talking about this place because it's a very important part of our daily life. Some of the hotels that we use in San Jose City. We're talking about the city right now. Yes, it's a busy city, noise, vehicles, people. San Jose, something interesting about San Jose is that it's not a city where you live in, like, I don't know, like New York. You live in New York and you go to work in New York and you have your restaurants and you have your nightlife in New York. San Jose, it's actually a pass-by city. So it is very, very busy in the morning and in the afternoon because it's the time when everybody's going through San Jose to go to work. Some offices are located in San Jose, so you have all these people coming to work and then going back to their houses. We live in smaller neighborhoods that are located what we call satellite neighborhoods because they are located around the heart of the city. But in San Jose downtown, you have just a few houses and just a few apartment buildings. The rest are shops and government buildings. So San Jose is very active in certain hours of the day, but then at night, for example, it gets very quiet. There are even some smaller neighborhoods where you could find smaller areas with lots of restaurants, for example, and lots of things to do, like nightlife related with bars and clubs and whatever. But in the heart of the city, really, at night, there's not much to do. One of the hotels that it's one of my favorites in Costa Rica actually is the Grano de Oro Hotel. This is a smaller boutique style hotel. It was built in an old Victorian house in a beautiful neighborhood in the city of San Jose. The Grano de Oro has one of the best restaurants in town. Definitely, if you are in the city, you cannot miss to have dinner at the Grano de Oro. And of course, it's a smaller boutique style hotel, amazing service. You're not a room number, you're Mr. Rodriguez, you're Mrs. DeBay. So this is one of those hotels in the country that really follow this line of boutique style, which is what you have the most here in Costa Rica. Another of the hotels that we work with a lot in the center of the city is the Gran Hotel Costa Rica. This is actually the one that is next to the National Theater. The hotel is a historical building. Actually, this was the first hotel that we had in the city, which is of course being transformed and brought into the 20th century. On outside, you get to see that it's a beautiful building. Rooms are very modern, but they kept all this history about the property. You see a lot of different pictures. You get to see a lot of different the core tells the story of the property. It's a very like I said, modern property, but keeping this historical feeling. The front desk is on the fourth floor of the hotel, and from these windows that you see here, you actually overlook the National Theater and the plaza that is next door. So it's a fantastic place to have a drink or to have a coffee in the afternoon, to see the people running around and everything, but you're there very comfortable and in the peace and quiet of your hotel, enjoying a drink. Another property that we work with in San Jose is actually on one of those satellite neighborhoods that I mentioned to you before, which is called Escazú. And actually Escazú, it's the area where our office is located. And also is the area, for example, that the US ambassador lives. And in this neighborhood, you have very beautiful high-end houses. And one of those houses was turned into a hotel. It's called Casa 41. They have only 7 bedrooms at the property. So you can do a buyout if you have a family or a little group of friends, or you could sell or you could buy a couple of rooms if you have less than that. It's an amazing house. This picture doesn't really make most of what it is. This is actually the backyard of the house. In this area, you have the kind of an open air living room space. The kitchen is on this side, and then you have the rooms around the house. It's a beautiful property. If you want something very boutique, something very exclusive for your clients, this is the place to go, with easy access to the center of the city and easy access to an area with lots of restaurants and shops, and of course easy access to the surrounding mountains, so you can go and enjoy the volcanoes, or you can go and enjoy the coffee plantations. Not only we have boutique style properties, of course, we have also some large resorty, more formal, if you could say so, more corporate kind of hotels. The Intercontinental is one of them. Beautiful property, two large buildings. The rooms they have one tower, which is the club tower, where the rooms are a little bit more upscale, but the other building with the standard rooms actually was completely refurbished during the pandemic. So those rooms look brand new, very beautiful, very nice. They have amazing restaurants at the hotel. They have a sushi bar, which is fantastic. And they also have a meat restaurant, which is amazing. Beautiful spa, couple of pool areas. It's a large resorty hotel where you could find whatever you need for not only a leisure trip, but also a corporate trip. Some of the experiences that you can enjoy in the Central Valley, very important to mention. Yes, we could do city tours. For example, this here is what we call the metallic school. There are some still, not that many, maybe 4 or 5 metallic buildings in the center of the city that came mostly from Brussels and mostly from Paris back in the day. They brought them like a Lego in pieces, and they built the building in the city. This is a primary school, and in our walking city tours, we go inside the school and we enjoy the beauty of this building, which is really amazing. We have a lot of gastronomic experiences. San Jose is the rebirth of our gastronomic scene. It's very interesting because we have a lot of chefs who have been abroad studying, learning techniques, and they came back into Costa Rica and use those techniques with local flavors and local ingredients. The outcome is amazing, and we have a lot of beautiful restaurants in town. Two of them actually were mentioned last year on the 50 best of Latin America. So we were very proud because two of our restaurants were there on that list, next to restaurants from Peru, from Brazil, that, as you know, have a very, very huge history in gastronomy. We could do rafting, 1-day trips to go rafting. So yes, you can do adventure out of the city. And of course, like I mentioned to you before, you can go on a 1-day tour to one of our volcanoes. Of course, don't leave out the coffee plantations. We have a lot of different options, some a little bit more touristy, to say so. We have, for example, I don't know if you know this, but a large amount of coffee that is sold at all the Starbucks shops comes from Costa Rica, and they have their own plantation here, and we have access to this coffee plantation, and well, you learn a lot about the history of the coffee and how they process it and everything. But yeah, that's also something that it's available to do. But well, let's get out of the city. I know you prefer, when you hear San Jose and when you hear Costa Rica, you think about this, you think about the forest, you think about the birds, and that happens, of course, in the outskirts of the city. Some of the hotels that we could work with out in the outskirts of the city have the amazing feature that you are about maybe an hour or an hour and a half drive from the city. So yes, let's go to the Central Market, let's go to the National Theater, let's go to the Gold Museum, let's enjoy the craziness of a little Latin American city, but stay there just a few hours and then go back to the outskirts, to the peace and quiet of your hotel in the mountains around the valley. One of them is the beautiful Poás Volcano Lodge, the one that you see on the pictures, on the two pictures on top. This is one of my favorites. It's very close to the Poás volcano, so of course you can go and visit the volcano. It's a big house surrounded by smaller units. Some of the rooms in the house have a fireplace. The food is fantastic. This area is very well known because of the strawberry production. So a lot of the options on the restaurant include strawberries. When you go there, you have to try meat with a strawberry sauce on top. It's so good. Believe me, you'll love that. And nearby, you also have the Peace Lodge, which is actually this one, the two pictures that you see on the bottom. And Peace Lodge is located right next to the La Paz Waterfall Gardens. It's actually part of the complex of La Paz Waterfall Gardens. At La Paz Waterfall Gardens, you get to see a lot of different animals because they have a rescue center. And also you do a walk-in through these beautiful waterfalls that you could explore and walk on your own or with one of our guides. So this is also another alternative. Those are the activities that I was mentioning to you before. As you see here, we have pictures of the different waterfalls. And that picture you see there is the Poás volcano, which is a must-see when you come to Costa Rica. Another option that we have on the outskirts of the city is El Silencio Lodge. El Silencio Lodge is located in Bajos del Toro, about an hour and 45 minutes away from the airport. This is a beautiful Relais Chateau property. Food is amazing. The property itself is huge, and you have around 7 different waterfalls inside the property. So you could do a lot of hiking to go to these waterfalls that you see on the pictures on the bottom. And they have amazing villas. Also, not only regular rooms, all of the rooms are standalone casitas. And besides that, you have 2 and 3 bedroom villas. So this is an amazing place surrounded by cloud forest, which you cannot miss. Another option that we have in the outskirts going towards the western side of the city is Chagiote Lodge. Chagiote is actually a beautiful place that was built around a coffee plantation. And it's very interesting because they took the coffee theme and kind of spread it on the property. As you can see on the top picture on your right, you see that the bed, next door to the bed, there is a little wall. That wall was made with with pieces of coffee plants. And they have kind of done this coffee thing around the entire property. As you see, the rooms are standalone casitas as well, and they resemble what we call the reception room. The reception room is actually a room that is located on the coffee plantations where you drop the coffee. And when you drop it on the back and on the front, there is a kind of a window, if you could call it like that. And when this room is full of coffee, you have the truck coming up on the side, opening up that window, and all the coffee beans fall into the truck, so it's taken to process. So even the rooms have this feeling of a coffee reservoir, if you could call it, which is something very typical on the coffee plantations. Another property that I personally like a lot is the Retreat. It's called the Retreat, and it's a retreat. Something very interesting about this hotel is that, well, of course, they have this amazing spa. It's owned by a lady, last name Stovo. She's from California, and she's a guru when it comes to healthy living. She's written a few books on dieting and healthy living, and she purchased this land, which is actually on top of a mountain that is full of crystals, which is very interesting because the energy in that place, you really feel it. It's a very clean and beautiful energy. And of course, well, the food is very healthy, very interesting. They have different retreats for, I don't know, for cleansing, for relaxing, etc. They do a lot of yoga as well. So this is one of those properties that you could use close to the city again. If you are looking into something more unique, something more wellness oriented. The spa is a 3-story spa, is really amazing, and the restaurant is very good. I've stayed there a couple of times, and the first time that I was there, I eat meat. I have to say that, and I was a little scared to have a vegetarian diet on my weekend, but I loved it. It was so good that I didn't even miss eating meat. So it's this kind of place that you could keep in mind if you have a client that is looking into something more wellness related. I'm almost done, so hope you're enjoying it as much as I enjoy presenting all these beautiful options to you. We have Villa Blanca. Villa Blanca is located a little further away from San Jose, kind of on the way to Arenal. It's kind of in the middle, but still it's part of the Central Valley. There you will find Cloud Forest as well. It's a beautiful hotel that used to be the summer house for a former president who lived there. And actually the picture on top is the house. And then they turned it into a hotel, and they built the smaller casitas like the ones that you see on the lower side of the picture. And all the casitas have fireplaces. They have a little backyard where you can just with rocking chairs, so you could just go there and read a book or have a glass of wine and just relax and unwind. It's a beautiful property. I really like it. The rooms are a little bit more rustic, but the place is so charming, and the food there is amazing. The fields are really beautiful, and they have a private reserve on the back of the property that you can do tours and explore and learn more about the cloud forest. And going to the complete other side of the Central Valley, to the southern part of the Central Valley, after the city of Cartago, you go up the hill and you find this beautiful area, which is called Los Santos, or the Saints area. This is also another great area for coffee production. And it's a little higher up in the mountains. The hotels, we have a couple of properties that we work with there, Trogon Lodge and Savegre. And these are a little bit more rustic, yes, but it's amazing. This place is so beautiful, so pristine. There are a couple of rivers running here, and we do a lot of fishing on those rivers. And we have Los Quezades Reserve, which is the Quetzals Reserve. And if you have clients who are birders, who are looking into seeing a Quetzal, even this place is even better than Monteverde, which is famous because of the quetzals. But here, I swear that one day I was there, in one tree I saw 6 quetzals just in one tree. Of course, you have to know when to go, and that's why you have us. But it is amazing to see those beautiful birds in this part of the country. It's a higher elevation, so it's a little cooler. You really need your jacket here at night and in your hiking gear to go on the trails. But it's a beautiful part of the country that is actually not that well known. So it's one of those up and coming, of the beaten path areas that we will be happy to present to you and to your clients. And with that, in talking about quetzals, look at that beautiful picture. We reached the finish of this tour around the Central Valley. As you see, and I want to emphasize on this, San Jose is not only the city of San Jose. We have a beautiful valley around us with amazing mountains and a lot to offer. So whenever you have clients interested, don't discourage them, because there's always something to do in this area. And it's easy to combine this area with any other part of the country, because this is, at the end of the day, the gateway to come in and out of Costa Rica. So with that, Dominique, I am finished with our tour around the country. Let me leave that beautiful picture, and you can tell me if we have any question. If anyone would like to know anything, I'll be happy to answer whatever you need.
Thank you very much, Henry. It was very interesting. And as you said, it's the last part. I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful idea for our future webinar. I'm counting on you. And
yeah.
so we have Ina wanted to know, speaking about the hotels outside the city of San Jose, if you still have availability over Christmas.
We do. Fortunately and unfortunately, these hotels around San Jose still show some availability for Christmas and New Year, because the beaches are the ones that get sold out faster.
Alors, let's see. We have someone on the Q&A section. Celine wanted to know if all the food, fish, or other item on the menu are they limited during certain season or not at all? You have everything all year long.
Actually, no. I mean, Costa Rica is a quite tropical country, so we have very good weather year round to grow everything. Like for example, with mangoes, which is my favorite fruit, by the way, you have very good mangoes when it's hotter because the sun allows the mango to get a better temperature. So we will have better mangoes the months of January, February, March, April. But then the rest of the year we will still have mangoes, but they will may not be as sweet as they would in the other part of the year. But we have mangoes year round, and same with the rest of the different woods that we eat here.
And she was mentioning the fish in particular. I mean, you have fish all year long.
We do. We do. Some sweetwater fish, you could have it year round. And with the fish that we fish on the ocean, there are certain times of the year that we have what we call, well, I don't know this term in English, but it's actually it's prohibited to fish certain kind of fish in certain time of the year because it's when the fish is too little. So we need to allow them to grow more so it's a better quality. But for that we have alternatives of different seasonal fish, or we have fish that is not fresh maybe, if you really want that mahi mahi or that dorado or something like that.
Another question, how are the road now? Have they been restored? What's the situation on the road?
Well, the roads in the Central Valley in general are in better condition than in the rest of the country because, you know, there's so much people living in this part of the country and you need to move around because you have to go to work and everything. So I could say that they are in better condition, but still the roads in Costa Rica are kind of our area of improvement, which at the same time gives, I don't know, a certain personality to our country and to that experience. So I'm not saying it's okay to have bad roads, but sometimes a bad road at the end you go to that beautiful place, so it makes it worth and it's part of the adventure. But in general, they are in better condition here in the Central Valley than in other countries. I mean, in other parts of the country.
Christy, you said she loved it all. She want to do a fun badly with Terranova. Huh? So
Oh,
will.
we're gonna work on that actually.
Voilà.
Stay tuned because we will have some farm trips coming this rainy season, well, this green season in the country, and I'm sure that you're gonna enjoy it. So stay tuned.
Another question was safety on the retreats.
Safety in terms of?
If a retreat stays, it's safe, I would
Oh
say.
yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a private property actually that you have to access through kind of a gate, and then you leave your car, and then they transfer you on their car because it's very steepy to go to this property. So you're basically in the middle of nowhere. So it's extremely safe. I mean,
yeah. So that was the other question. How do you transfer guests to these retreats? And you switch car if the clients are coming, or you take them directly from the airport? It depends.
no, I mean, we take them directly from the airport, but we have to get to a certain part of next door to the gateway, at least at the retreat specifically. And there you need to change car to one of their local cars and get there. But from there to El Silencio, you can go straight from the airport. From Poas Volcano, you can go straight from the airport, from Chagiote Lodge as well. I mean, all of these properties that I presented to you have easy access from the airport with no need of a 4x4 car. Maybe El Silencio, depending on the time of the year, if it is too rainy, it's definitely better. But since we take care of the transportation from the airport, you will have the unit that will be needed to be able to get there safely. So no problem with that.
Lauren, you're saying that you love San Jose. They have great food.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. It's very refreshing to hear that because people don't really enjoy it that much. And I think it's because they haven't given the chance to enjoy the city. And maybe they haven't had the proper guide or the proper company to introduce the city to them. So that's me.
I'm sure, yes, you would do a wonderful job. You want to know, Celine, does your bird population move from Costa Rica during the year and come back? Or she said like they're birds in Canada, but I think they stay all year long where you are, no?
Well, yes, we have some seasonal birds because this Costa Rica is one of the stops on their migration, either from north to south or from south to north. But there is a big population of local
Bird.
wildlife
Yeah.
that you could see year round in the country. Of course, sometimes it's easier because maybe on the mating season, for example, of the quetzal, for example, it's easier to see them on that season than in other seasons, but it's not that you cannot see them. It's going to be a little harder, but for that, it will really depend on when your clients are traveling. So we will be able to show special or specific wildlife that is easier to see in that specific time of the year.
Mhm. Christy, you wanted to know, do you suggest 1 or 2 nights in and out, in and around San Jose?
If you're staying downtown San Jose, one night may be enough. But if you want to give it a try and stay around the city, I would definitely recommend to do at least 2 nights. For
Mhm.
example, at El Silencio, you have to stay 2 nights at least. Same at the Poas Volcano Lodge. I mean, all of the lodges on the outskirts, 2 nights. Inside the city, one night could be okay because depending on the arrival time, we can do a sightseeing on the city on that arrival date or on the next morning before going to your next destination.
Perfect. And we were running a little out of time. So Ina said
Yes.
she will get in touch with you. Christine, she'll love you, the hotel you use in San Jose. And Celine will ask you a quote for fishing. Huh? Voilà.
Perfect.
I do not see any other questions. So we're going to say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us. And Henri, the final tour of our all our webinar around the country, and cannot wait for your next idea. Huh?
Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Like I said, stay tuned because now we saw all these spots in Costa Rica. And on our next webinars, we're going to see how to connect these spots to do different itineraries that include different experiences. So stay tuned.
Yes, well, but it's a fabulous country. Everybody loves Costa Rica. Huh? So, pura vida, everyone.
Pura
And
vida.
we'll see you soon. Huh? Bye-bye, Henri, and thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao. Pura vida.